You know, up here on the Three Rock Mountain, as I mentioned earlier, we can, on a clear day, get a beautiful view right across Dublin city. Now, it's a little bit misty and rainy today, but when I look across Dublin like this, I'm reminded of how often we Christians have yearned for, have longed for, a powerful outpouring of the Holy Spirit, like in the great revivals of before. Well, I live in Dublin, I grew up in Dublin, and I'm in the city most days of the week. And I see so much pain, so much hurt, so many people who are lost to addiction and to other forms of sin, of evil. Yes, Dublin is a beautiful city, but oh, how our people need the Lord. They need the presence of God. They need the sense of His holiness and of His great, wonderful love for them. Not only in Dublin, but in every city in the country, in every village, in every town. What we need is God, Christ, the Holy Spirit. But I sometimes think that we Christians forget that within us we have a key to revival already. And in the letter to the Ephesians, we see that very, very clearly. Because Paul, when he tells us about the grace that saves, doesn't just tell us about the grace that brings us forgiveness, but it talks about the power that now lives in us, the power of God Himself, to live a Christian life, to live a life like Christ. As he says later on in the letter, he says, "Be imitators of God as beloved children, and walk in love as Christ loved us and gave Himself up for us, a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God." We now have the power to live like that. And we have the power to do so much else that Christ did in bringing the kingdom into the country. I want to leave you with a magnificent prayer that Paul prays in the 3rd chapter of Ephesians. The prayer for revelation of Christ's love and for the knowledge of the power of God within us. I hope that you will enter into the spirit of that prayer with me, and that we can be as one in seeking the Father for that love. I bow my knees before the Father, from whom every family in heaven and on earth is named, that according to the riches of His glory He may grant you to be strengthened with might through His Spirit in the inner man, and that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith, that you, being rooted and grounded in love, may have power to comprehend with all the saints what is the breadth and length and height and depth, and to know the love of Christ which passes knowledge, that you may be filled with all the fullness of God. Now, to Him who by the power at work within us is able to do far more abundantly than all that we ask or think, to Him be glory in the church to all generations, forever and ever.